All right, this is a regularly scheduled meeting of the Advisory Committee on Sustainability. It is 12:13 p.m. on November 10th, and I don't have the agenda in front of me, so now I'm running to go get it. So I can use it as a guide. But I assume the first thing on the agenda is to approve the past minutes, which it is a uber short agenda, which is good because we're going to focus on sustainable CT. But while we're here, let's take the formal action of approving the minutes. These are the minutes from October 13.
Craig?
Yes.
I just made a couple of notes on oh, there's Cliff. Cliff, we actually just started. We're talking about the October 13 minutes. For number 7, I just had a couple of suggestions to make the statement a little bit more to add more information to it. So it says the Board of Selectmen approved Darien joining the Connecticut Coalition of Sustainable Materials Management, and Jamie has now notified CCSMM that we wish to join. So I would suggest adding the Board of Selectmen had approved Darien joining because it was done in February. Joining CCSMM in February 2021, I think we should add. And Jamie has now notified CCSMM, I would say in writing, that we wish to join. That just kind of clarifies what the situation was.
Got it.
Yeah, I'm good with these. Any other comments or adjustments on the minutes? Can I get a motion?
Is this the one from, I was not at this meeting, this wasn't the special meeting? I just want to verify, are we doing the special meeting we just had or the prior?
This is the prior regular meeting.
Okay.
So can I get a motion to approve these?
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes from October 13th as amended.
Can I get a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, all those in favor, show me your palms. All right, I'm going to say that's 5 votes. So those are approved. And actually, we did get then just a couple of days ago from Cliff the minutes from the special meeting. And those are dated November 1st. Everybody have those?
Mm-hmm.
So let's do those, get those out of the way too. Okay, looks good to me. Any comments?
The only thing yes, they're perfect. They're absolutely perfect, except I think Christine was at the meeting. Christine, weren't you at that meeting?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Move Christine from the absent column to the present column?
Yes.
Okay. Can I get a motion on the minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for the special meeting on November 1st, with the simple change of adding Christine as present.
All right, can I get a second? Kathy seconds. All those in favor, show me your palm. All right. It's hard to put your palm in front of the camera so I can see it, but I think we got 4 or 5 votes there. It's approved. All right, so on to sustainable CT items. We had a little bit of pre-recording discussion about how best to track our progress. And although at the special meeting I had thought that trying to track the progress on the website made sense. It became clear to me after trying to do that, and Carolyn after trying to do that, that Chad's suggestion at the last meeting was actually a better idea, which is why don't you create a Google Sheet and just share that and track your point progress and comments there. So I had sent an invite out to the Google Sheet with both the short form and long form worksheets, action item worksheets on it. Does everybody now have access to it, to the best of your knowledge and ability? Oh, Ed, yeah, you do not have access to it. Why did I not? I didn't give you access to it, Ed. Sorry, you lose. But I have just sent it to you now. There you go. Send. Non-Google account. Anyone holding this invitation will have access without sharing. Okay, there you go. I sent you a share as well, sir. Thank you for raising your hand. So just to, I'm happy you're probably looking at it right now anyway, but just to show you what I'm looking at, I'm on the long form tab, and let me go to something where I've put some comment in. There we go. So here's an example. So on the far left, we have our potential partner column. That's column C. And here I've written PZC, standing for Planning and Zoning Commission. The action item was integrate sustainability in a plan of conservation development. Gives you a little more guidance on what they're talking about. I took a look at the POCD. POCD is here. It's got a whole chapter on promoting sustainability and resiliency. And basically, they're looking to make sure that certain concepts are included. I haven't done a thorough audit back and forth between the language and the action item, but I saw enough to say, okay, I think there's some points here we can get. So here in column J, poor formatting, but I threw in maybe we can get 20 points here and said see chapter 15 of the Plan of Conservation and Development.
But Craig, wouldn't we have gotten points for that the last time, because the Plan of Conservation and Development was done in 2016, I think. So that was before we applied for this.
It was done in 2016. It is eligible for rolling credit. I don't.
This is where it gets confusing.
Yeah, whereas I have Chad's spreadsheet here. Well, we didn't get points for it last time.
Oh, okay. Oh, perfect. Okay.
Yeah,
good.
we did not get points for it last time.
Okay.
And I don't know why. Could it again? Oh wait, no. Let me. No, you're right. Hold on. Last time it was 4.1. There, I got Chad's spreadsheet up this time. So it's right here. Integrate sustainability in the Plan of Conservation Development. We did get 25 points for it last time, but it is available for rolling credit this
good.
time.
Good.
Okay. So until we have the new format up on Sustainable CT, and that makes sense for tracking, I think what I'm proposing is that we use this long form spreadsheet to track the points we are earmarking. Let me share this one more time. So this is the consider pursuing column, the ACS member lead, potential partner, and then this is the sustainable CT description, targeted points, and comments. So I think this will just be a super efficient way. Now we all have the same document. We can all add comments to the same document and track it as we go.
Craig,
yes.
This is Kathy, point of question. So I have, when I pulled up, it looks like there's a short form as well. a shortened
Yes.
form of this?
This is the short form, yes.
That's the short form, and where's
Yeah.
the long form?
Oh, so if you go to the bottom right here.
I see where you're pointing. Got it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, short long.
Okay, I thought I was going crazy.
No,
That's all
I
right.
have the same question, Craig. I saw the short form and I'm looking on my iPad, but I don't see all the same stuff that I'm looking at I see what you're showing right now, but I
Yeah,
don't see
so-
what you were showing.
So on my workstation, if I go to the bottom of the screen, it says short list and it says long form.
Oh, okay. All right.
If I click on the long form tab.
Yes, I have it now. Thank you. Sorry.
Good. No, that's all right. This is like our training program. Do we get credit for this
Yes.
training?
Yes, Google Docs is not my forte.
Yeah, no, it's not mine either, right? I'm in the Microsoft days. You know, I'm over 40. But you know, we got to change. We got to adapt.
Right.
And it is convenient, and it is, you know, it actually is a reason it's becoming popular because it's
So
easier
question,
to crowdsource.
after we make any changes on it, do we hit share or do we just?
There's no. So everything you do on here is immediately and dynamically updated. So
Okay.
you're all listed as editors, and you add, and it's added. Period. There's no save. There's no copy. It's just there in the cloud forever.
Okay, good.
Which is interesting. Maybe I should take all the cells in the middle and lock them just so,
Yeah.
you know, yeah, we don't end up with a massive erroneous delete or something on the
Yeah, that's a good idea.
information.
Craig, one immediate thing that kind of came through to me, and just even using 1.1, the points, there's going to have to be somewhere to distinguish if we're going for bronze or silver, because in order for bronze, you must do 1.1. It is required, and you must do one of them for bronze and 3 of them for silver. So in looking through this, we're going to have to kind of figure out what we're doing and how many points we really, you know, whether that goes into comments or whether that goes into separate columns, because theoretically for silver, that would be 30 points, I'm assuming.
And you're saying 3 and, oh, so you evaluate, instead of evaluating 1 of your other action items, you're evaluating 3 of your other action items.
You must, for bronze, to get credit for bronze, since this is required part of the application, you can do 1 for bronze, but you must do 3 for silver, and you can do more than those, but there are minimums on some of these, and I don't know if in others it's going to be the same way, but that stood out. Yeah, so whether at the moment we just put that in notes and then somehow calculations we do differently later on, I don't care.
I think this is the way we have to do it, right? Because we got, you know, 7 different brains trying to make this happen, and it's just an easy place to take notes, and the way you can all see them, and it's for you, and it's for you too, as you kind of are pursuing each item.
Since Kathy and Craig, since this one is required for the application, do we have any idea what? Let's just assume for the moment that we're just going for bronze certification again. So we're thinking of one thing. What one or more things would we be considering for this? I was thinking about this, and I don't really have a good idea of how we would approach this.
Yeah, so go ahead.
Go ahead, Craig.
It's kind
like
of
last time we worked with Human Services, right, to offer permits to people who needed them through Human Services.
So here's I have one for you. I was talking to Pam, not Pam Smartman, Pam Gary, the director of Parks and Rec. You can understand it's right in front of me, right? Director of Park and Rec, and she is a part of, I don't know the right term, but some Connecticut Association of Parks and Recreation professionals. And when they had their meeting a year ago, they actually had someone come from Sustainable CT and give them kind of a primer on what that was all about. But she was very interested, in particular this year, in the equity side of the things that they are able to do. And so we had a conversation about it, and she said, well, who would be willing to come and talk to this group about equity as it relates to their work and their profession? So now that you said that, I'm thinking, well, maybe we can meld all of this together with finding an individual to support Pam Gary and talk to these park and rec professionals about equity in their line of work. And maybe that can turn into something that the town of Darien does along those lines through Park and Rec, access to the parks. How are people accessing the parks? Who is accessing the parks? How do they get there? I think there's a lot of stuff there. Do we discount passes? Do we, we used to have that foldable wheelchair, have we created more accessible pathways like at, the new Oxford Field? This is an accessible, walking path. So maybe there's some congruency there. What do you guys think?
What I think is that that's a great place to start. 1.1, which is required,
Yeah.
requires you to apply the equity toolkit, which is a whole series of things which requires you to look at the community, a breakdown of the community, look for underserved populations, look for what's distributed, blah, blah, blah. You go through the whole thing. And then you would apply that toolkit to a particular action. And then if the action was to make the farmers market more available, then you'd apply that. So the Parks and Rec would be a great place to do that. Yes. And yes, there is a tremendous presentation in the equity toolkit to say what is equity and why is it important. And it would certainly suffice to have a conversation with our own Parks and Rec department or with our town, with the people in the town for whom that was important. The next one is called Participate in Equity Training, and that requires someone from sustainability and someone from the government. I think it's 3 people to attend some type of training. So it could literally, one could flop into the other if they truly wanted to think about equity and apply it in their programming or their other,
Yeah, so either there could be those 2 people at this event with all of those towns, right? Or we could figure out how to do, the local team with those 2 people, or however you want to do it. But so
they fold into each other.
Yeah,
and the
last it's almost like you could do a lot, with this offer.
Yes. Yeah.
So you are the person that knows the most about this category. Do you feel comfortable reaching out to Pam and saying, let's talk about how we might make this happen, and maybe we can pull in resources from Sustainable CT to help make it happen and make it equity focused?
Yeah, I'd be happy to hear what she's thinking and then sort of apply it back to this plan and come up with maybe some recommended steps.
Sounds good.
Can we, if we're on the equity, the other thing, and we haven't had much conversation about the school district, but I think this is another place where there is going to be work in the area of equity and diversity that is going to take place in the community. We've hired a consultant. And I think there's a whole broad area of work that may be done. And so again, if you're thinking of silver certification, you probably have to find multiple kinds of actions you could work on. So just that's in the back of my head.
That's another great point. And this is exactly what we're looking for. We're looking for the things that are already underway or will be underway, and kind of taking advantage of that work effort and just making whatever minor tweaks or providing whatever support through Sustainable CT we can to really get full credit for it.
Which could possibly help them. We may be able to.
Yeah, exactly. Could make the program better or easier, or give them resources they didn't know they had. Yeah. Yeah, that's a great idea too. Oh, so actually I'm on the spreadsheet, so I'm going to write
Kathy's name.
Kathy. Yeah, well, Kathy's already on here, so she's already,
Oh, okay.
yeah, but so I'll just write 2 ideas, Parks and Rec, interested in equity and BOE pursuing diversity programs. I don't know how to say it. I'm not one of the people attending the BOE meetings lately, although there are people in my house that do. Did I delete? I'll see. I already deleted something. See, I'm awful at this. Hold on. All right, there we go. All right, I think we did a lot on equity. So let me just ask this: with our reinstigation of focus on sustainable CT, do any members have something specific to share about action items they're currently looking into, or questions? Or
I have something.
yeah.
With regard to the CPACE item, I had sent you an email about that.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, that is, sorry,
It's okay.
it's 2.6. So we got credit on the last application for the existence of a CPACE program in Darien. It was passed by the RTM some years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And then we also got some credit for commercial building owners who have availed themselves of this program.
Mm-hmm.
We can't get rolling credit for the existence of the program, as I understand it, but we can still get credit for commercial building owners who have availed themselves of the program since, I think, January of 2019.
3-year rollback, right? Or
yeah,
something like that.
So I contacted the Connecticut Green Bank to get a list of people who have applied and gotten the credit, and gotten the into the program, and there are enough to get 5 points. And because there were 3 of them, we can also get more points if we hold like a webinar or some kind of a panel discussion with the assistance of the Connecticut Green Bank to publicize the program, the CPACE program, to commercial building owners or not-for-profits. So they gave me 2 times next week when they could meet with us to discuss, strategize the next steps for outreach to commercial building owners. And I just wanted to know if anyone else wanted to join me on that call.
So in terms of the
Should I just do it myself?
I would say go for it and extend the invitation and offer. And so the educational event looks like it would be under 2.6.2, which is encourage local building owners to access it by organizing an educational event. And then 2.6.3 is the one that you would get credit for Green Bank financing. So
yes,
there are eligible completed projects.
Yeah, I think if we can get 2, I think, as I recall, I'm not looking at the application right now, the details of it, but I believe if we could get 2 more building owners to sign on for the program before we submit the application, our point count would bump up to 10, I think.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, the one I had started looking at, which seems a little unfair, maybe this is a question I can pose directly to Sustainable CT. And so as a reminder, Chad said that even if you just use the basic info@sustainableCT address with any of these questions, it kind of goes to all their fellows and they respond, the best person responds. So you are all empowered to ask questions, and as you're going through this, whether you feel more comfortable going directly to Chad or going to the info@. But last time we didn't get credit for our solar PV installations because we didn't have them turned on in time for the last application. And now there's like a 3-year credit. So like we fall in this weird window where we turned them on, but we turned them on too long ago for credit this time. So I'm going to kind of get the information on that and ask a question. And in fact, Ed, if you could remind me when the 3 systems that are under your umbrella were turned on, number 1, and number 2, not now, but take a time, write a note. And number 2, if you have a way of discerning how much power has been generated by those systems over a year. We have to prove the points come if you generate at least 10% of your municipal power from renewable energy sources. So we have to look at all 5 systems we have, your 3 and Mike Lynch's 2 on DHS, and through the next few months still on Ox Ridge, and compare the total power generated on those 5 systems over the course of a year, we'll pick a year, I guess, and compare that to our total energy use, and hopefully it's 10%. Probably not. I think when I did this last time, it was going to be in the 7-8% category, but I think it's worth at least refreshing the math. Thank you. I remember that was the other thing, one of the Herculean things we did when we were the Energy Committee, working with Eversource for a year, was doing our huge energy audit, which has lapsed, right? So now we don't have current information on how much energy we use compiled anymore. Maybe Ken would be interested in doing that again, just to get us up to speed with a finite project, but I can ask him. So let me go down to solar and make those notes. Feel free to talk amongst yourselves as I do this. Solar. Go ahead.
Pam, are you okay if I take 4.1?
Sure.
Because I had worked
fine.
with Terry on that a little bit on the last one, so.
Yeah, if you've already got it started, why not?
I mean, I've got the sheet here. I just need to update it, make sure it's correct, and grab our points.
Did you want me to change the name, or did you change it?
I did it.
Okay.
And then
So taking me off where it says 4.
for all, yeah.
Just remove that. Okay.
So Craig, I have a silly question.
Okay.
Are you still going to be doing the little ones that have your name by them for next year, or are you off? Are you going on your vacation for your next project,
Yeah,
4 million
that's right.
project?
Yeah, exactly. That's a great question. For now, well, I'm going to move Carolyn's name under the CPACE program. So
Okay.
I would say some of the ones that I took, I think it still makes sense for me to help out with, given the nature of my particular expertise. But if it makes sense for others to jump in, maybe there's a transition period. But I'm happy to help on a honorary or informal basis as we go about this.
Okay. Thank you.
You. And when are you officially off the committee?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, theoretically, we're supposed to get reappointed annually, and that goes by the calendar year. Sometimes usually they're late at taking action to make sure everybody gets reappointed. Sometimes it happens in January, sometimes a little later. So I think it's soft, but generally it would be the calendar year. So at the next meeting, we can talk about who's going to take over the chairmanship.
Okay.
We can do fierce lobbying in between for the power and control that you can wield.
I feel like it'd be nice if we could get another person on the committee too. So
Yeah, no, I think part of this is, again, my recognition that my time has been limited and I haven't been able to focus on it as much as I want, and hopefully there are members of the community that have the time and passion to focus on it, and that would be a positive result. Some folks that are really engaged.
Well, Craig, that is a good logistical question. Should we be thinking of people that we know, people in the community at large who we could suggest to the Board of Selectmen, or do we wait for them to?
No, I mean, I think, they would love our help.
Okay.
And,
Or does this go through the RTC, DTC?
No,
I don't even remember.
we're not,
It's just through the board. Okay.
yeah. We're not an entity established by the ordinance, the town ordinance, right? So there's
Okay.
it doesn't matter if it's 7
It doesn't
people or
balance.
11 people or 10 people. It doesn't, so they could add.
Oh,
and
so we
subtract.
don't have a set number, Craig? We could have,
I thought we did.
2 or 3 additional people?
I think they could create it every year, right? It's an
Okay.
advisory committee. I think they
Okay.
could. Maybe I'm speaking out of turn. Maybe I don't know the specifics, but I was.
I
under the
sort of feel like
impression-
there was a number when I was on the
Yeah.
board.
Okay.
There was a specific number, but I couldn't recall if it didn't matter the balance of party.
whether they could set it or whether it was something specific. Yeah, it's an interesting question. Well, I can.
Call 15131, please.
I can reach out to Monica, I guess, in the next week or so. Put that on my list. See what her thoughts are, but my thoughts would be, obviously you don't want it unwieldy, but in the past we've also just accepted honorary members, that are willing to do work alongside us, and that's what we're after. It's going to be a lot of work, and I think the more people that are excited about getting it done, the better.
no, I agree. So let's put our thinking hats on and find some people.
Yeah.
Honestly, I always thought Susie would be great, but she's a little too busy right now.
I attempted to involve her in the past, and at least in the past, she was disinterested, and she does have a number of ongoing projects at the moment.
Yes, she does. So.
All right. So okay. So any other members with specific questions or progress on particular action items?
No. I was looking at. You think we could do the promote dark skies? I mean, I would love to.
Yes. So I actually looked at that this morning, and I put a note here somewhere. Let's see if I can find the find function on here, so I don't have to scroll through the whole thing. This is the part about not being familiar with Google Sheets.
Maybe one of them, or is there anything in here if we could get leaf blowers outlawed on Sundays and every day?
Yeah,
I couldn't find it anywhere where it would fit in on this
huh?
thing. But
I
would
was
really like-
thinking about that too, Christine. I wonder, would that fit under 13.1, implement your own sustainability action? I guess I thought Chad was going to be at this meeting. I have a lot of questions, but they're for him.
Well, this is about the
uh,
value of watershed education. Which one are you thinking it would go under, Carolyn?
Oh, no, I was wondering if it could go under the very last one, which is an optional action item. Because I didn't recognize that it would neatly fit into any of the others.
I know, I'm really surprised they don't have that on here for,
Right.
so 3 point what? Which one are you looking at? I'm going through here.
Oh, no, 13, I think it is.
Under dark skies.
oh, so if we're back to start, oh, no, there's actually one of, I'm sorry, what are we talking about? Dark skies or not dark skies? Because
Dark skies and leaf blowers.
okay, so dark skies is actually a real item under
Yes.
Right.
is under 3.13.
Mm-hmm.
And I found let's see here. In the zoning regulations, this is the zoning regulations, there is a paragraph here under 10256 that says that glare from the installation of outdoor lights and illuminated signs shall be properly shielded from view of adjacent property and public rights of way. Specifically, all exterior lighting shall be designed so that filaments, light sources, reflectors, or lenses shall be shielded with opaque material in such a way that the light shall be directed down and shall not be visible at a height greater than 6 feet above the ground level at property lines. So
What document is that, Craig?
that's the zoning regulation, section 1025.6.
Okay, 'cause that, oh my goodness, that's like, that's violated right and left.
Well, again, it's just a zoning regulation doesn't mean that everybody that has had light bulbs for 100 years immediately has to comply, right? Zoning regulation means that applications that go in for site plan review need to comply with that standard, right?
Right.
So,
Okay.
and I don't know when it was. I don't know when it was started, and no single-family residential property has to go in for site plan review, right? So, it's
Right.
really for
Okay.
commercial districts. So,
Understood. Right.
and but the if we go to the point item, it says require all projects requesting land use approvals for new construction or substantial modification to have dark sky compliant fixtures. So we have to see if that language that we have qualifies, right? Or if there is preferred language, can we get zoning to adopt it? That's a longer process, it takes a lot of time. But anyway, so I did kind of throw that in the notes section here as a maybe. And then you were mentioning leaf blowers again, which yeah, they aren't in here. I don't remember seeing them, but that certainly, if we were providing education on leaf blowers and lobbying for their more reasonable use, it seems like that would be a 13 qualifier.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, Bill Cavers has published an article, I believe, against those leaf blowers, and I was trying to coordinate with him on that so that we could also do something, but he got really super busy and wasn't able to respond to my emails until very recently. And then when he responded, he didn't respond on that, but he did respond about watershed education. And he referred me actually to you, Craig, because of a couple of different things you're involved with. Did he were you copied on any of that?
Yeah, you sent it to me. I'm looking at it now.
Okay.
So Institute Local Monitoring Program, the Coastal Waters Committee will be continuing its participation in the Unified Water Study Water Quality Monitoring effort. Next will be the 6th year participating. So that looks like a good target category we should add to the sheet.
We got credit for that on the last application under the citizen science category.
Yeah,
But I think there's another category where it could fit this time.
I think that's 3.1.2 might make sense.
3 point, I'm sorry, which one, Craig?
3.1.2 on the long form. Institute a local monitoring program related to watershed functions or health to be conducted by citizen groups such as local nonprofits or K-12 students. It's like exactly the thing.
Mhm.
And it's available for new enrolling credit of 5 points. So,
And
I
they
will
are still
write-
doing it, yeah.
yeah, and so let me, so I'll look at that email again and I'll type
He
the
said
notes.
something
which are-
about the sewer commission, I think. He said there are a couple things you were involved with that,
Yeah, at one point, we were considering a partnership, well, a grant to them on their water quality program, but that didn't happen. The grant went to the land trust instead for a water quality improvement project at Olson Pond, which maybe I got to look through this stuff to see if that project, when it's completed, gets points, but it's not completed yet. Darien Advisory Commission on Coastal Waters, and then I will say Unified Water Study, and I will say Bill Cavers, and those are the notes that I've added to the sheet under that item. And then the next one was conduct a natural resources inventory. So those are, I don't know what's exactly involved in terms of getting points for that.
What's the number, Craig? What is it?
That one was 3.2.1A.
Okay. 3.2.1. Okay, right.
Yeah.
Oh, yikes.
Yeah, it seems like a big one.
That's one where I think it makes sense to go to look at some of the towns that have already received credit
To
for
see
it.
what
and
they-
they've done. I do that all the time. I look at, it's like a cheat sheet. I look at what other towns have done and see what they submitted to see if we can copy it, kind of.
So what I will say, there's kind of two different things here in terms of watershed-based study. The town has taken 3 of our major water courses and done hydrologic and hydraulic studies, really on runoff and flooding and stormwater, those being the Norotan River, Goodwise River, and Stony Brook River. Those aren't really what Sustainable CT is talking about when they talk about watershed plans. And it's hard to describe the difference, but it's more about, I guess it moves it into a plan of action, and there's more water quality and land development consideration and commentary than just how much water is coming down the river. So it's a different animal than we've done in the past, and takes effort and cost and consultants in my mind. But
Craig, would some of what the work that's been done go into the inventorying this stuff? Maybe I'm
yeah,
misunderstanding.
again, I don't know what has been done.
And then what am I going to do with it or do
Yeah,
about?
and I haven't looked into this, so maybe I
Yeah.
don't know, is this under your line item, Cliff? I don't recall.
I'm not entirely sure. I'm still
Yeah.
trying to digest all of this. I mean,
Yeah,
Caver
yeah.
said that you and the sewer commission, he said one of our commissioners is going to regularly attend their meetings, which I think is the sewer commission, to see
Yeah.
where the intersections lie. And that was in response to me saying, with all the flooding going on, the town might be willing to do more in terms of watershed. And I've
Yeah.
been watching presentations that both you and Ed have made, excellent presentations, which really helped me to understand what the hell was going on with all this flooding stuff. I can't believe with all the work that's been done on that we can't get some points somehow. I mean, we are trying to get people to stop having leaves and other kinds of debris on their property where when the brooks and streams rise, they grab that stuff and clog up all the sewers. That's an educational thing. There must be stuff going on in all of that.
Well, yeah, I mean, when we had gone through the short list, and here's the short list from the Google sheet, that particular item was categorized in our quick look as a no. And my guess is it just seemed like the work necessary was large in the time frame left, and with our ability to get significant work done. So, but I'm happy to revisit any of these at any time, right?
Well, there's another piece of it, Craig, that strikes me, and that is that when the town works with FEMA to buy a property and restore it to natural land, that seems to fit in as well, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Isn't
with
that
3.3. Let's take a look at the description of 3.3 here. So here's some of the 3.2 stuff. Natural resources inventory, map and identify critical watershed resource areas, aquifers, riparian corridors, wetlands, vernal pools, and headwaters. I mean, that's not hard. We do have a wetland map. We do have a flood map. We do have some aquifer protection areas. You can put it together, but it requires someone, with GIS skills to actually produce the map and get it. So again, you need to identify someone working for the town or a town employee to actually do that. Map land uses and possible locations where pollutant loads may enter the watershed. I know that through the MS4 program, Ed has been working to map the stormwater system and may now or soon in the future have an indication of where all those point source discharges are, at least from the storm system. And we can then overlay that with the zoning map, which is land uses. Again, it's compiling all this stuff and mapping it. And taking pieces from different departments and put it together, which is the whole purpose and why you should focus on it. So I'm not saying it's a bad idea, just saying it's effort.
What about 3.3, where it talks about watershed restoration?
Yeah, complete. So what I read this and I was thinking about actually this Olson Woods project, but complete a priority project as outlined in your watershed action plan. So you almost have to do 3.23 as a precursor, create the watershed plan, identify a project in your watershed, and then do that project. So anyway, that's why I think it was not listed.
I also think some of this is semantics in the way it's written, and that back to working with their team, when you describe we're undergoing issues with flooding, with, I mean, everything from when the Tilly Pond had stuff flowing in it last week, I read somewhere, to the big issues that, we're working on some of these things, and we may start in the middle of the list, not at the top of the list, and there'll be something that we identify and we'll go to work on. So again, I think information gathering right now on what people are working on, whether it's Ed or whether it's the watershed people or what the first selectman said as their priorities this year. I mean, I don't think we can make it all up, and I don't think we can force it into something, but I also think there's flexibility in some of what's said there. Engage in a protection act. If you're doing that, you're going to get some credit somewhere. Where it may be, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we recognized this last time. We don't even know what everybody's doing. And part of this process was really just figuring it out and collecting the information.
Right.
We also, started the idea, didn't harp on it continually, that, really this shouldn't be born out of the volunteers. It should be, how is the town now taking these things on and moving forward with them? But there's always the catch-all, item 13, right? So if there's a legitimate project and legitimate work done that we think is in line with sustainable CT goals, we can throw it under section 13.
And I think we can do two things under 13, if I'm not mistaken.
5 to 20 points per submission, up to 40 points.
Okay, great.
Yeah, you can do two things, and then depending on, how good they think it is.
So Craig, this to me ties back in with you're going to talk to Monica and find out about whether they support this whole initiative or not. And, if they're going to take if they really want this to proceed, it seems to me they know what the hell's going on. They're actually deciding what the town's going to do. And I think they're going to have to take a slightly more active role in this than in the past.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know yeah, no, look, I mean, other communities and generally larger communities have established sustainability directors, paid employees that are the ones at the staff meetings saying, what are we doing on this next, and who has prepared that, and do we have the map, and I'm compiling all the information and I'm putting it together. And the other thing to remember again, and we all agreed to this when I said it last time, which is, we don't care about the game as much as we care about the result, right? The game just provides a great format for getting results. And so even if we pursue things that make sense that we don't necessarily earn points for, it's progress. It's just that, we now find ourselves, 8 months away from, or whatever it is, 10 months away from making an application, and we're starting to get more focused on, where can we actually get the points so we can get through this process.
Before I leave what I just said, since I missed part of this meeting, in fact, I missed 2 parts of it for different reasons, and I apologize. I have this thing about sustainable purchasing, and I keep going back and back and back. And I mean, I know that things are difficult in town hall. COVID made things almost impossible. I know everybody works hard and is busy. I've been hugely impressed by what I've been seeing going on there. But my understanding is that they wanted to redo the purchasing policies, and that they had a real interest in incorporating sustainability language. And I've given a sample, and I've offered to try to help. And basically, I don't hear anything. I'm just not connected.
Yeah. Well, look, I think one truth in politics is that urgency, or at least the perception of urgency, is necessary fuel for action. And when things don't seem urgent, it sounds like it's dying on the vine. In that section, there's 2.2.1, which says have municipal elected official and/or staff members and/or commission members participate in a sustainable procurement training. So that's 5 points. So one thought is contacting Sustainable CT and say, where is that training? How does it get done? How do we sign people up for it? And then we can go to the people that have at least expressed interest in this idea and say, okay, let's get, a couple of people trained on it. And maybe that's helps instigate the process again.
Craig, they have a calendar. They have a calendar with all their trainings. If you go to trainings and events, I don't know how far into the future the calendar goes, but I mean, I looked at it for the next couple of months, and I signed up for a couple things myself, not related to this particular issue, but we would have to find one that's on sustainable purchasing and then offer it up. You convince somebody to go.
Yeah, convince someone to take the time to go, right? Exactly.
They're usually only an hour to an hour and a half long, and they're webinars, so.
Okay, I'll take a look at that.
Here we go. Action category. So down below the calendar, it offers a way to look for it.
Oh, right, yeah.
If it's about sustainable purchasing training, I'll dig into it. If I have to, I'll reach out to them.
Okay, sounds good. All right.
I think we've just run out of time, haven't we?
Yeah, it's 1 o'clock, which is my informal deadline. I think we talked about most of the stuff in Bill's email. It looked like that 3.1.2 is the easiest way to grab some points. So if you're willing, Cliff, I would continue the conversation with him at least around that one. make sure he has the requirements.
Yep.
All right, everybody good? Everybody feel a little more comfortable with this process?
Mhm.
Being dragged along, kicking and streaming?
Like deer in headlights.
Yes, yes. It gets a little more manageable when you get used to it. It's that
Yeah.
new stuff seems daunting, and then you do it for a little while, and
I mean,
you
I guess
it wasn't
my
that daunting.
concern is are there any categories where I guess I would feel more comfortable if we had 5 points secured in every category? Is there any category that we feel is in danger of not getting any points?
I don't know.
I'd have to look closer again. I didn't get that far with my looking so far.
Okay.
And is there I know, Craig, that you sent the names in to town hall, but is there, and maybe I missed this, I'm sorry, kind of a process to know what, if any, the marching orders are, beyond adding or inviting new members?
Maybe this will all happen with a pending conversation with the selectmen to understand what their goals are. But the way it worked with really the way it's worked with Jamie for at least the last 3 or 4 years is we kind of defined our own scope. We said, here's the stuff we're interested in tackling, and so this is how we would craft a charge for our board, and then that goes before the Board of Selectmen for consideration. That's the way it's worked. Maybe so. Okay, so actually, I'm starting to develop a list of things I need to do. So hold on. So it's like that. I got this. And maybe I can forward our last couple of charges so you can ID for what they say. Who's got the baby?
That's me.
Oh.
Oh.
You may not have seen the comment that I put into the chat, but I had to run over here because Leland came home unexpectedly from daycare.
Okay.
Mhm.
Well, I found those noises relaxing, having been removed from them for so many years.
Exactly.
And I think it's the removed from them that makes it relaxing.
Right.
Totally.
All right. I'm going to stop recording, so we're adjourned.